This is Jamin Mayer with Parker Tree Service, Longmont, Colorado, early June 2021. This subject is quickly on the, this topic is on the subject of how to see deadwood in a tree when the tree is dormant. It's actually pretty easy. I have a video to supply kind of evidence how it's easy. I think the tougher question is, how can you tell if something is living or dying? Right? So if it's in the state of living when you make your observation, let's say I had an appointment 4 weeks ago to observe these trees and then provide a quote to do some tree pruning. So it was about, I think, 3.5, 4 weeks ago, something like that. So my observations then would be, I would see green twigs, the leaf buds barely breaking and opening. And so I would, at the time I was saying, okay, I can see a decent ratio between the live crown to the dead crown. All right, so it was okay, it was doing all right. There were some questions that I had in this region, but then we've also had in this area an exceptional amount of precipitation and cloud cover. And I say this area because this part of Colorado is very arid. Most of Colorado is arid, but this area is for sure. I'm going to zoom in this area, and then I zoom in one more. So what we can see is there is some vitality. You can see some tiny little sprouts, tiny little leaves starting to form. The question would be, is it living or dying? As in, maybe there's enough energy or water supply right here, right now. So then my choice is to leave it. I leave it now because it's living, right? But maybe in 2, 3, 4 weeks, it starts to wither and then it dies. I have to, and we all have to, sometimes give a tree the benefit of the doubt and leave something in the tree, like in this situation. So that matters in any season of the year that someone could be pruning on a tree. That principle that I'm saying applies. As in, even in the wintertime, we can see dead and alive. And at that time that we are pruning in the tree could be very much alive. But because it's a living organism with complexities going of things happening inside the tree, in this case, this tree is presumed infested with emerald ash borer. So depends on the extent of the internal damage on the cambium. The cambium is that zone underneath the bark that is supplying both water and food. I'll just use those two simple terms to be transported throughout the tree. All right. So the question is, how do you know if it's living or dying? So here's kind of the answer, and it's not an easy one. So I just have some samples out here. 1, 2, 3 branches. And with this one, we can see that there is some sprouts still on it. Notice the color on this stem. That is a kind of a young, healthy looking stem. That's normal, okay? And you can see that green, like an olive green color to it. Over here, it's very obvious this is dead. I'm going to break it, right? But this branch, or this portion of it, is also attached to a part of the tree that has some vitality, right? There's some sprouts coming out in here, and there's sprouts coming out. So if I had left this branch in here, these leaves would likely, come on out and just fluff out, look okay. But what I don't know is if this branch will continue to, say, shut down, stop, or if this is just temporary growth. And what I mean by that would be, it'd be something similar to this. There's some sprouts. There's an epicormic shoot along this one. And there's a tiny bit of vitality right here. But you can hear by the sound, this is dead and dry. Okay, so I break it. I'm holding my camera with my right hand, but there's no green vitality, green growth, chlorophyll inside of there at all. So obviously that one gets eliminated. The super tricky one is this. In this case, I know over here this is going to be dead, but I think this will be alive. And yeah, you can see the green right there. You can see that green right there. So that's alive. But then let's see here, other parts. Yeah, that's alive. But this little lateral, I know that one's dead. That's brown inside. That's dead. So the tricky thing is, so if I go, it's dead-ish now, Is it so stressed it cannot come out? And then therefore, the question is more like, is it living or is it dying? That's kind of the thing. And so we can be stuck between a rock and a hard place. And occasionally it may appear as if we missed some dead stuff in a tree, but we didn't miss it at the time. And it's a living organism that could be shutting down holistically, or just like say locally in portions of the tree. Okay, hopefully that's kind of clear. It's kind of a long, complicated explanation, but it's kind of the best I can think of how to communicate this principle.